I have just finished watching the speeches for, I guess, round 11 of the voting. Let me see if I can turn this down just a little bit so that we don't have that in the background. But they're going to start calling the roll. The clerk is going to start calling the roll. And I think on this round, Congressman Gates nominated former President Trump to be Speaker of the House. And
Jeffries,
let's see now.
Adderholt,
So now they're going down the list. The speeches this time
McCarthy,
weren't any different from last time. So first of all, for
Aguilar,
anybody who's jumping on this and
Jeffries,
watching this or watching this
Osborne,
later, I am a member of the
McCarthy,
Democratic National Committee, so
Allen,
it's a little interesting for me to watch this vote. Actually, I've watched all
Allen,
10 of them leading up to this. I've listened to
McCarthy,
most of the speeches
Allred,
and I'm back at it here again this evening, wondering
Jeffries,
if they are going to
Emine,
coalesce and be able to
McCarthy,
get a speaker nominated this time. I
Armstrong,
understand that there have been a
McCarthy,
number of background
Arrington,
conversations, concessions being made, agreements
McCarthy,
being put in writing, according to what
Auchincloss,
I've heard, and
Jeffries,
that they're pulling some
Babin,
things together. So, politics is
McCarthy,
messy. I think people are a little
Bacon,
concerned because it does slow
McCarthy,
down the work that needs to take
Baird,
place. People are ready for their
McCarthy,
Congress to be in place to
Alderson,
start looking at getting laws passed
McCarthy,
and doing some work. And I think I'm
Ballot,
going to turn this down just a little bit more. We can hear
Jeffries,
her calling
Bates,
the roll there to get the votes. And then you
McCarthy,
hear each one of them responding with who they're
Barr,
voting for. And again, there's
McCarthy,
Matt Gates there who
Harrigan,
nominated former President Trump. Unless I missed
Harrigan,
it, because I did have something else going on
of
here, unless I
Florida,
missed it, I didn't hear
McCarthy,
Representative Donald's
Beatty,
name get nominated this time. Yes, I do not see
Jeffries,
that he was actually
Pence,
nominated. His name is not on the list this
McCarthy,
time. So I'm
Merriman,
wondering if they took him off of the
Jeffries,
list
Berthier,
because those
McCarthy,
votes that he got previously
Pryor,
are maybe now going to get behind McCarthy. Is this when those votes are
Jeffries,
now going to make the switch, or are they
Butts,
just going to go to
McCarthy,
Hearn? Maybe Hearn is going to
Biggs,
be their new person, but we won't really see until most of the numbers start coming in, and they're just getting started. So we have a
Koufax,
long way to go here.
McCarthy,
But this is
Bishop of
round
Georgia,
11. Hopefully,
Jeffries,
they will be wrapping
Bishop
that
of
up.
North
And I have
Carolina,
not been going live on
Collins,
all of this since the very beginning because we would have been doing this for 3 days now. There's
Blumenauer,
Bishop from North Carolina. I'm actually from North Carolina, so it's
Jeffries,
been nice to see some of
Flat
my
Rochester,
representatives make
Jeffries,
their claim for whoever it is
Boebert,
they are supporting, and they're falling, of course,
Kern,
along party lines. They're not doing anything other than what we would expect them to
Bonamici,
do. But this has to be a long
Jeffries,
day for
Bost,
people, and this is day
McCarthy,
3. So we're now at
Bowman,
6:47 in the evening on the West
Jeffries,
Coast, on the East
Boyle of
Coast,
Pennsylvania,
and the numbers are sort of
Jeffries,
looking the same. So someone voted there
McKee,
for others, and since I'm talking, I didn't hear who that was.
Kern,
Maybe that was Representative Donalds who picked that up, or
Brill,
that could have been someone else.
Jeffries,
So we'll see as the numbers um, come in, and maybe they can wrap this up tonight. There's been some talk that
Brill,
they've been meeting in the negotiating
Jeffries,
room to hammer out some
Buchanan,
final terms.
McCarthy,
Will we see that in these numbers?
Buck,
I don't know. We will see how it goes.
Buck,
A lot of concern has
Bushon,
been around the budget
McCarthy,
and how much is owed
Bazinski,
on that. We had one of the representatives talk a
Jeffries,
whole lot about that earlier.
Burchett,
But, I think the problem with some of this is that there's been just a lot
McCarthy.
of critique about the process. You guys
Burgess.
need to get it together. You need to
McCarthy.
get behind somebody and move
Burleson.
forward. So
McCarthy.
we'll see. We'll look at these numbers and see if they play out the same.
Bush.
Right now, you've got
Jeffries.
four.
Calvert.
Um, so
McCarthy.
yeah, you have other outlets saying,
Kennedy.
"Hey,
McCarthy.
this is something we haven't
Caraballo.
seen in over 150 years. This is something I've never seen
Jeffries.
because I'm not 150 years old."
Carbajal.
But again, we've now
Jeffries.
got four votes that
Cardenas.
McCarthy's not going to get. So we'll see how this goes.
Cardenas.
Three for Hearn, one for someone
Carey.
else.
McCarthy. Carl.
And most
McCarthy.
people are voting the same as
Carson.
they have before. Not a whole lot
Jeffries.
changing there.
Carter of Georgia. McCarthy. Carter of Louisiana. Jeffries. Carter of Texas. McCarthy. Cartwright. Jeffries. Kassar. Jeffries. Case. Jeffries. Caston. Jeffries. Castor of Florida. Jeffries. Castro of Texas. Jeffries. Chavez DeReamer. McCarthy.
And one of the other things that they've been talking about
Childress
is that
McCormick.
several people
Jeffries.
are not planning to be
2.
in town tomorrow. So that's
Jeffries.
another reason
Cicilline.
why they're trying to wrap
Jeffries.
this up this evening because they
Siscobani.
know that the numbers are going to change. And I'm sure that they've already looked at
Siscobani.
those to see where the impact of those
McCarthy.
numbers would be. So if you're
Clark
already
of
having trouble
Massachusetts.
getting the numbers tonight, you
Jeffries.
definitely don't want to be
Clark
in a
of New
situation
York.
where you're walking into this tomorrow
Jeffries.
and you don't have
Jeffries.
the support of people
Klein.
because some of those people aren't there. Now, I don't know exactly
McCarthy.
how many people they're talking about. I've heard other news
Cloud.
media outlets talk about anywhere from
Reynolds.
4 to 10 people. People have got medical appointments, family
Clyburn.
commitments, hadn't planned on being in
Jeffries.
town. I've heard a lot of things get thrown
Klein.
about. And so it's unclear what that
Niles.
number would be and how it would impact these numbers here, any of these numbers.
Cohen.
So we're looking at six now, three
Jeffries.
for Hearn, three for others.
Cole.
Um, so yeah,
McCarthy.
with this being the 11th
Collins.
vote,
McCarthy. Comer.
and as
McCarthy.
much as we're hearing
Connolly.
some complaints about this, it really is just
Jeffries.
part of the process.
Correa. Jeffries.
Sure, it's taking a while, it's slowing
Costa.
down the work that needs to get done, but
Jeffries.
it really is part of the process.
Courtney. Jeffries. Craig. Jeffries. Crane. Hearn.
And so
Crawford.
now we've got seven. We are up to
McCarthy.
7 votes that McCarthy is not
Crenshaw.
going to have this time around.
McCarthy.
4 for
Crockett.
Hearn, and then 3 for
Jeffries.
others.
Crow.
There hasn't been anyone
Jeffries.
to vote for
Cuellar.
Trump who was nominated by member Gates.
Cuellar.
And there was one person who clapped
Curtis.
um, when he finished his
McCarthy.
speech about nominating
Davids of
the
Kansas.
former president. I didn't hear
Jeffries.
anybody else clap or didn't see anybody else clap, but
Davidson.
I do recall one person did clap to that. But yeah, we're up to
Davidson.
7. So
Davis of
we'll
Illinois.
see
Jeffries.
how this
Davis of
ends.
North Carolina. Jeffries. Dean of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. DeGette. Jeffries. Dela Cruz. McCarthy. DeLauro. Jeffries. Del Bene. Jeffries.
Hopefully they're
Deluzio.
sitting in that back room and they're negotiating things and getting
Jeffries.
things worked out so
Desonge.
that maybe this will be, maybe
Jeffries.
12 will be the last one. And they can
Desjardins.
wrap this up in 3 days and not have to
McCarthy.
go into a fourth day. But I think one of the things I did
Esposito.
hear someone say was
McCarthy.
that they
Diaz
could
Balart.
choose to adjourn.
McCarthy.
Um,
Dingle.
and then
Jeffries.
that way
Doggett.
those people who aren't going to
Jeffries.
be available tomorrow won't miss
Donalds.
the vote tomorrow and they could just start back up on Monday or Tuesday or whatever
Donalds.
day it is they're thinking about. I
Walton.
have heard some conversation about that. Don't
McCarthy.
know if
Duncan.
that will take place
McCarthy.
though. So we'll
Dunn of
see.
Florida. McCarthy.
We're still at 7. So this has
Edwards.
been a very long process. I know there have been
McCarthy.
some jokes made about getting
Elsie.
popcorn and watching
McCarthy.
because it definitely has been an
Bimmer.
event. I mean, if you think about
McCarthy.
not just the negative
Escobar.
side of it, but the number of people
Jeffries.
who now know a little bit
Eschew.
more about this process
Jeffries.
just because this took place.
Espaillat.
A lot of times when we're in
Jeffries.
school, elementary, and even high
Estes.
school, we learn a lot about
McCarthy.
how government works.
Evans.
We take civics and all of these other
Jeffries.
classes,
Ezell.
and then we graduate, and really we don't think
McCarthy.
about the processes as
Fowler.
much anymore. But when you now pull this
Fowler.
up and look at this on YouTube or on
Finstra.
TV, if that's where you are following it, and you see the number of
McCarthy.
people who are actually looking at this and
Ferguson.
following it and making comments, there
McCarthy.
is, I think, it is a
Instead.
way to get people a little bit more interested
McCarthy.
in how their government works.
Fishbach.
And when people have more interest in it, they're more likely to
Fishbach.
take the time a little
McCarthy.
bit more to understand the issues and to vote
Fitzgerald.
whatever their choices
McCarthy.
are. So, yeah. So we're
Fitzpatrick.
now up to
McCarthy.
4 for Hearn, 4 for others. So we're up to 8
Fleischman.
votes that McCarthy
McCarthy.
does not have. We still have
Fletcher.
this, McCarthy and Jeffries,
Jeffries.
where,
Flood.
they have been over all the past votes, the previous 10
McCarthy.
votes. But yeah,
Foster. Jeffries. Fushi. Jeffries. Fox. McCarthy. Lois Frankel.
and if you believe what they're
Jeffries.
saying, hopefully,
C. Scott Franklin.
you know, maybe there will
McCarthy.
be one more after this, and then maybe there'll be it.
Frost.
And
Jeffries.
I wonder if Gates is going to
Fry.
vote for Trump since he was the one who.
McCarthy.
Let's see what he does.
Fulcher. McCarthy. Gates. Trump.
Yes, he did. He went ahead and he voted for Trump. Well, when you put a name in nomination,
Gallagher.
there is the
McCarthy.
expectation that you're going to vote for the
Gallego.
person that you nominated. And so he made that
Jeffries.
nomination and he stuck with it and
Garamendi.
voted for his choice.
Jeffries.
That now
Garbarino.
brings the total of people who are not voting for
Garbarino.
McCarthy to 9. Now
Mike
brings
Garcia.
that to 9. So um,
McCarthy.
it looks like he's
Roberto
not going
Garcia.
to get what he needs. Again, I'm talking about
Jeffries.
McCarthy. Looks like he's not going to get what he
Garcia
needs.
of Illinois.
Again, I I held
Jeffries.
off,
Garcia of Texas.
doing each one of these and just
Jeffries.
tackling through these
Jimenez.
because there is, this takes a lot of time to sit
McCarthy.
here and listen to each one of the
Coleman of
nominations
Maine.
and then to follow through and see how the
Jeffries.
vote is going to be. And in many of these cases,
Goldman of New
the
York.
vote has, it's
Jeffries.
been about the same with McCarthy and Jeffries, and it usually has only
Gomez.
varied among the other people who you had running. So,
Gomez.
for instance, before it was Jim
Tony
Jordan, and it was
Gonzalez.
also
McCarthy.
Representative Donalds, and
Vicente Gonzalez.
yeah. So,
Jeffries.
and they got a
Hood of
handful of
Virginia.
votes. And now
McCarthy.
this time we have Hearn and we have Trump and then we have others. So, yeah. It does look like he may not have the number again. We're now at 10 who are not supporting McCarthy. Um, yeah, so I was hoping this was going to be the final round. Doesn't look like it's going to be the final round. It looks like we're going to head into another round after this. But let's see, we've got, quite a few more to go through to see how this goes. So yeah, this is C-SPAN just announcing Representative McCarthy does not have the votes. Um, yeah, 11th speaker vote, 12th speaker vote possible tonight. We'll see. Yeah, they may just keep pushing it through this because, like I said before, there's been this conversation that people are not going to be around tomorrow. And I mean, and look, they've got a lot of new members here too. And so there may be nights where there may be late nights when you're working. And this is an interesting way to start if you're a freshman member of Congress. And yes, he tends to make a little bit of a longer announcement of his vote. That's what he's been doing in the past when he says he's voting for Jeffries. But yeah, we are now up to 11 people who are not going to be supporting McCarthy again this time around. It looks like he is not going to make the cutoff to become speaker in this round. It looks like there's definitely going to be another round, and it's just 7 o'clock. So this is very much the case that they could go one or two more rounds tonight before shutting it down if they can't make it work. But like I said, some of the traditional media outlets are reporting that there have been negotiations. And when I say negotiations like that, it almost sounds like there haven't been, but there have been negotiations going on this entire time. And actually, some of those conversations were taking place even before the first vote started. So, he already knew that this was going to be a tough road for him. This is not anything that was not expected. And, you have to sit down, figure out how you're going to build consensus, how you're going to bring people together. One of the things that I sort of think about, though, is minority rule. And, you've got a small group of people who, to some extent, are dictating or possibly dictating the outcome here. They're saying, here are some things that we want, and if we don't get those, then we just don't see that we can come on board here. The other thing to think about is, are those things significant enough to hold this up? But again, like I said before, this is part of the process. This is, government and civics playing out in front of us. And if it helps us learn a little bit more about the way things work, then to some extent, that is a good thing. That is a good thing. Sometimes we can become a little bit complacent. We know to go vote. We know, to call up our representatives, especially those in Congress, if we're having issues with Social Security and things that are handled at the national level. I tell people all the time, they don't even think about it. And I say, have you called your member of Congress? When it is a national issue and there is a national agency involved, give your Congress member a call. They have staff on hand that do constituent services. That is what they do. So if you are having a problem, for instance, with Social Security, with your veterans benefits, if you served this country, engaged in military service, reach out to your member of Congress and have them work for you. They have staff there, and those staff members already know who to call most of the time, especially for members of Congress who've been in office for a while. Those staff members have made connections with those regulatory agencies, and they already know the processes. So members of Congress are here to work for you. And so if you're having issues, definitely give them a call. And so the fact that this is playing out, I hope, that one of the things it does is bring that to people's minds to let them know, that you have a member of Congress who is there, who works for you. And if you've got questions about what's going on at the national level, give them a call. So hopefully, this
Jeffries.
gets people a little bit more
Johnson of
engaged
Louisiana.
with not just voting, but saying, okay, yeah, that
McCarthy.
that person I can actually call their office.
Johnson of
And
Ohio.
there actually is, if you don't
McCarthy.
know who your
Johnson of South
representative
Dakota.
is, you can go online and just Google Find
McCarthy.
My Member of Congress. And there is a website where you
Jordan.
literally just put in your
McCarthy.
address and it
Joyce of
will
Ohio.
bring it up who your member of Congress is and it will give you the
Joyce of
contact
Ohio.
information. So it is that easy. It is that simple. And it
Joyce of
should be that way. Like
Pennsylvania.
you should not have to go searching
McCarthy.
for your member of Congress
Hemlotter Dove.
and, have to jump through a whole lot of hoops
Jeffries.
to get in touch with these people.
Cantor.
So there are definitely ways to contact them.
Jeffries.
And like I said before, if there are
King
things
of New
going
Jersey.
on
McCarthy.
with with
Keating.
something that you have at the national level, you should definitely
Jeffries.
reach out to them. So let's see where
Kelly of
things are now
Illinois.
on the count. We're now at
Jeffries.
12
Kelly of
votes
Mississippi.
that are not in support of
McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy. So it does look
Kelly of
like we are
Pennsylvania.
possibly going to have a 12th round. The question is whether or not this round is
Kelly
going
of
to be
Pennsylvania.
tonight. So hopefully they're able to
Kana.
pull some things together from what
Jeffries.
I've been hearing.
Higgins of
It sounds
Virginia.
like they're putting some things in writing,
McCarthy.
and that
Kildee.
that's really that they're really
Jeffries.
nailing these things down, and
Kiley.
that they're hoping to sort of pull some things
McCarthy.
together. One of the
Kilmer.
things that I wanted to mention was, this idea that we're getting away
Kilmer.
from policy and that sometimes we're
Kim
focusing
of
too much on
California.
personality politics. And I get it.
McCarthy.
Sometimes we like certain
Kim of New
candidates.
Jersey.
We feel a connection
Jeffries.
to them, a relationship to them.
Krishnamurthy.
Some candidates, and you
Jeffries.
probably have this sense, there's some candidates
Custer.
sometimes that you meet and you just don't connect
Jeffries.
with. Maybe they
Crystal.
don't feel authentic. Maybe you
McCarthy.
feel like they're just another politician.
LaHood.
And you're just
McCarthy.
like, that, no, I just can't do them. And then there are other ones that you feel like, hey, this is my person. And it
Aloyda.
becomes more about the person than it is about the
McCarthy.
actual policies. But, sometimes the
LaMalfa.
person can be a proxy for the policies. It just depends.
LaMalfa.
So we're still at 12. Um, we're
Lambeau.
about halfway
McCarthy.
through, I guess, with Jeffries at 100
Langeland.
and McCarthy at 100.
Jeffries.
Um, and hopefully we're going to see
Langworthy.
this
McCarthy.
wrap up tonight. We're really hoping to get this
Larson of
wrapped up
Washington.
tonight. We've got
Jeffries.
these 12 votes here
Larson of
that
Connecticut.
look like going
Jeffries.
to keep us from wrapping
Nevada.
up this 11th vote. So we're probably going
McCarthy.
to go into this 12th vote. The question
Turner.
is it going to be tonight or is it going to be tomorrow or
Turner.
next week? So
Lawler.
let's see.
McCarthy.
Yeah, if it's
Lee of California.
I think I might need a sip.
Jeffries. Lee of Florida. McCarthy. Lee of Nevada.
And again, if you are dropping in at the midpoint here, then you'll
Lee
see
of
that Trump has
Nevada.
that one vote, and that was from
Lee of
Matt Gates,
Pennsylvania.
who
Jeffries.
provided that. He nominated Trump and then, of course, voted to support him. That's what you do when you make
Ledger
the
Fernandez.
nomination.
Jeffries.
And this is
Let's go.
actually C-SPAN. And one of the things that they mentioned earlier was that they were able to, I guess,
Let's
bring
go.
in some more cameras so that you can get more of
Letlow.
a floor view. If you're used to watching C-SPAN,
Letlow.
you'll know that usually you don't
Letton.
get all of those views way
Jeffries.
deep in the audience like they've
Live.
been showing with
Jeffries.
these votes.
Lofgren.
In this case, I think
Jeffries.
again,
Loudcoat.
it brings us into the
McCarthy.
room, brings us into the moment,
Lucas.
makes it easier for us to
McCarthy.
see what's going on.
Lukemeyer.
A lot of us, I think, don't
McCarthy.
usually pay as much attention to
Luna.
um, what's going on in the House of Representatives at this level. Sometimes you
Luna.
might be following a hearing, but no,
McDonald's.
most people are not sitting around looking at
Luttrell.
C-SPAN unless
McCarthy.
you are
Lynch.
involved in government policy issues.
Jeffries.
Maybe that's your job. Maybe you work
Mace.
with an organization who
McCarthy.
does this, but most
Magaziner.
people no are not doing
Jeffries.
this. Let's
Maliotakis.
see. We
McCarthy.
are now at 13. We have
Mann.
13 people who are
McCarthy.
not supporting
Manning.
McCarthy. In the past, it's been around
Jeffries.
20.
Massey.
And there was one representative who spoke earlier
McCarthy.
and said, "Oh, we think we're going to
Mast.
bring over a few
McCarthy.
people to the McCarthy
Matsui.
side." We'll
Jeffries.
see if that happens
Beth.
because in the past, it's been around 20.
Jeffries.
I think Donald's got
McCarthy.
20, and then there were maybe three others. So, I mean, there's still some room here to do
McCarthy.
that because so far it's only 13 that have not supported McCarthy. So, maybe the rest of those who didn't support him before, there's still some numbers out there that could do
McCall.
that. Um,
McCarthy.
but we'll see. So we're at
McLean.
13 now.
McCarthy. McClintock. McCarthy. McCullum. Jeffries.
And we've still got quite a few to go.
McCormick.
And typically, what has happened, at the end, they'll go through the
McGarvey.
numbers. Then
Jeffries.
the clerk will announce the numbers.
McGovern.
And then
Jeffries.
if he doesn't have the numbers
McHenry.
again, usually you'll have someone rise. The
McCarthy.
clerk will then ask, okay, so
Meeks.
there's, I believe that was McHenry coming in from North
Jeffries.
Carolina, and I think he had
Menendez.
been maybe one of the people that might have been in
Jeffries.
the negotiations
Ming.
room. I don't know. But typically,
Jeffries.
if the votes
User.
don't happen again this time, then like I was saying before, you'll have someone rise and,
User.
the clerk will recognize the person,
Infume.
ask them why they are seeking
Jeffries.
recognition,
Miller of
and
Illinois.
then it may
Votes.
start all back over again, and the person may rise to put McCarthy's name back up
Miller
there
of Ohio.
for speaker, and then
McCarthy.
of course Jeffries, and then
Miller of
whoever
West
else, if it's
Virginia.
going to be Hearn again,
McCarthy.
or if it's going to be
More
someone else. Like I
Meeks.
said before, we've
McCarthy.
gone through a few people
Mills.
now who have been
McCarthy.
offered up by other Republicans,
Molinaro.
but yeah,
McCarthy.
we're definitely going to be doing a
Molinaro.
12th vote here because it looks like the numbers
McCarthy.
haven't been met.
Mooney. McCarthy.
So this is definitely something that will
Moore
test
of Alabama.
your
McCarthy.
willpower to keep doing this. And I
Moore
can
of
imagine
Utah.
a lot of people are sitting around, wondering
Moore of Utah.
when this is going to come together. When this
Moore
is
of
going to
Wisconsin.
come together.
Jeffries. Moran. McCarthy. Morelli. Jeffries. Moskowitz. Jeffries. Moulton. Jeffries. Mervan.
And the clerk
Jeffries.
continues
Mullen.
to go through
Jeffries.
the list here.
Murphy.
Um,
McCarthy.
I think that was Murphy
Nadler.
from North Carolina. So yeah,
Jeffries.
so it looks like they're down to the
Napolitano.
ends now,
Jeffries.
going alphabetically through the list
Neal.
of the members of
Jeffries.
Congress. I know there was something
Magoosh.
that happened
Jeffries.
earlier. I caught a
Mounds.
little bit of it where
McCarthy.
one of the members
Newhouse.
um, spoke
McCarthy.
another member's name. So the thing
Nichols.
about this is, even when you're giving these
Jeffries.
speeches, there are rules. The Senate
Norcross.
has its rules, the House has
Jeffries.
its rules around.
Norman.
You hear about ethics rules a lot,
Donalds.
but there are also rules around decorum and things that they can't can
Dunn
do.
of Iowa.
And I think there was some concern that
McCarthy.
that particular member may have done something that, in a way that
Obergilty.
broke House
McCarthy.
rules. So
Ocasio-Cortez.
uh, it was interesting to
Jeffries.
watch because then he sort of said he didn't do it, but
Bowles.
I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. Maybe
Donalds.
that's something for another video here, but
Omar.
we'll see. So we are now
Jeffries.
at Hearn
Owens.
with 6. Trump
McCarthy.
with the 1, and remember that 1 came from
Pallone.
Matt Gaetz, who put his
Jeffries.
name in
Palmer.
nomination. That was former President Trump. He put former President Trump's name in
Palmer.
nomination for Speaker of the House.
McCarthy.
As I stated earlier, don't know
Panetta.
if you saw that, but
Jeffries.
there was one person that did clap for that.
Pappas.
And then, of course, now you have
Jeffries.
9
Pasquarel.
votes for others. So we are now at
Jeffries.
16
Payne.
votes for other Republicans
Jeffries.
outside of votes for
Pelosi.
McCarthy. So McCarthy is now at
Jeffries.
135, and you have 16 for
Maltola.
other Republicans. And so,
Jeffries.
that number
Pence.
continues to grow. Remember, there was some
McCarthy.
thinking there that there were going to be some
Perez.
people to come over to the McCarthy
Jeffries.
camp. And as we're watching
Kerry.
this, that doesn't seem to be the case because
Donalds.
we're at 16 now. So unless all of the, oh, now we're at 17. So
Peters.
unless all of those
Jeffries.
remaining ones switch
Pedersen.
over, it doesn't look like,
Jeffries.
what I heard a
Lugar.
representative say earlier is taking place because
McCarthy.
this representative made some comments and said, hey, I think there are going to
Phillips.
be some more votes that are going to come over to
Jeffries.
the McCarthy camp. I
Pinckney.
don't see that happening here. I don't see that
Jeffries.
happening here at all. We're
Hocan.
at 17. Um,
Jeffries.
and so
Porter.
there's still some room there
Jeffries.
for that to be the
Posey.
case, but so far the
McCarthy.
trend is not there.
Presley.
Now, maybe there were some names there that I missed earlier that voted for McCarthy, and I just didn't hear them because I'm running my
Jeffries.
mouth. But I don't see that
Quigley.
taking
Jeffries.
place yet. The trend is
Ramirez.
still as it was before,
Jeffries.
and that is that those
Raskin.
same people are not
Jeffries.
choosing to
Reschenthaler.
support to support him.
McCarthy. Rogers of Washington. McCarthy. Rogers of Alabama. McCarthy.
So we'll see. Hopefully,
Rogers of
like I said
Kentucky.
before, they're hammering out the details
McCarthy.
in the negotiations
Rose.
room and finalizing what the
McCarthy.
expectations are going to be and
Rosendale.
what they're going to hold him to in order for
Kern.
him to get their votes. Members are hanging in. It's now
Ross.
7:16. We'll see how much
Jeffries.
longer this goes on.
Rouser.
I think after a while,
McCarthy.
my laptop may need to be
Roy.
plugged back in for us to
Donalds.
see what this looks like. But again, it appears this is not going to
Hayes.
be the final round because the
Jeffries.
trend is still. So we are now at, oh gosh, so we're now at 19. So it's definitely not going to be this situation that looks any different for Kevin McCarthy. It's going to look exactly
Ruppersberger.
the same. It just is. I
Jeffries.
think,
Rutherford.
I was hoping for something different, you
McCarthy.
know. So, there
Ryan.
was talk that this was going to be a different
Jeffries.
round, and it's not a different round. It is
Salazar.
not a different round at all, unless you
McCarthy.
take into account that it
Salinas.
says others there.
Jeffries. Sanchez.
Yeah, yeah,
Jeffries.
not a whole lot different going on. You've got some people
Santos.
who look like they may be stepping out of
McCarthy.
the room there. We're looking at
Sarbanes.
people going
Jeffries.
somewhere. Not sure where they are
Scalise.
going, but we just saw 3 people get up.
McCarthy.
Uh, Representative Taylor
Scanlon.
Green taking her jacket with
Jeffries.
her. Um, so either she's
Schakowsky.
not coming back to that seat,
Jeffries.
um, maybe
Schiff.
she's going to another seat. Maybe she's going to another room. Um,
Schiff.
but yeah, she has voted for
Schneider.
Kevin McCarthy. I don't know if she did in this round. I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, so
Snyder.
19, we're getting close here to the end. We're on S's now. So we'll see how much further we have to go.
Snyder. Jeffries. Skolton. Jeffries. Schreier. Jeffries.
Yeah, so
Swikert.
you have another person
McCarthy.
walking out. I mean, you still have quite a few
Alston
people in
Scott.
there, but
McCarthy.
you know, you do have some people walking
David
out.
Scott.
You know, you probably need a break if you've been in there for a while,
Jeffries.
and if you've been
Scott
sitting
of
for a
Virginia.
while. But it looks like
Jeffries.
he's not going to have
Self.
that number.
Donalds.
Donald's. Okay, so there we've got another number for Donald's. So that now puts,
Sessions.
I mean, you know, that now puts us at 20. So that's
McCarthy.
now 20. So it looks like that's where most of those other votes are
Sewell.
going. So we're now at 20 votes that
Jeffries.
McCarthy is not going to get.
Sherman.
And so
Jeffries.
remember, I said
Sherrill.
earlier that another representative had said
Jeffries.
that, oh, in this round,
Simpson.
we're going to bring some more votes
McCarthy.
over to the McCarthy team.
Slotkin.
That didn't happen. So I'm
Jeffries.
not sure where
Smith
he
of
got that from,
Missouri.
but this was a Republican member who indicated
Smith
that
of
that was going to
Missouri.
be the case. I don't see it playing out in the numbers here because
McCarthy.
you've now got 20 people who have not voted for
Smith of
McCarthy again.
Nebraska.
So nothing really
McCarthy.
changed, even though he said it was.
Smith of New
I think
Jersey.
maybe he was a little early um, on that. I don't think he
Smith
had
of New Jersey.
his facts and evidence quite right there because the numbers are just not supporting that. He doesn't have the
McCarthy.
numbers this time. Those people
Smith
that
of
he said were
Washington.
going to switch over to McCarthy this
Jeffries.
time didn't do it. Now, it could
Smucker.
be that they're still working on
McCarthy.
negotiating some of the terms and
Sorensen.
that will take place in the
Jeffries.
next round. So
Soto.
we're looking at this
Jeffries.
12th speaker vote
Spanberger.
that maybe that'll be the point when you will start to see some of these others.
Jeffries.
But right now,
Sparks.
that doesn't look to be the case. We've got 20 people are still
Sparks.
supporting Donald's. You had
Stansberry.
Gates suggest Trump and put Trump's name back into nomination here again.
Stansberry.
And, you know, so the idea is
Jeffries.
you have less people running against McCarthy, not more, you know? And so now we've got more names in
Stanton.
nomination here, plus the others. People are still
Jeffries.
supporting Donald's here. So
Stoller.
hopefully, again,
McCarthy.
um, they're in the room
Steele.
breaking this down. It's been
McCarthy.
said that they're putting
Stefanik.
some of these
McCarthy.
agreements in writing, that they're
Style.
writing everything down, making sure that they're
McCarthy.
hammering out the
Stubbe.
details in order to be able to
McCarthy.
finally coalesce and get behind.
Stevens.
I'm assuming it's going to be McCarthy.
Jeffries.
That's what this person said,
Stewart.
that it was going to be McCarthy. So
McCarthy.
we're waiting to see that happen.
Strickland.
We've seen some people leave the room though, and there's this
Jeffries.
concern that people will not be here tomorrow. And so they
Strong.
have to have this vote, another vote tonight,
McCarthy.
or they have to adjourn and come back
Swalwell.
next week because they may not have the
Jeffries.
numbers tomorrow.
Sykes.
So we'll see how it plays out.
Jeffries.
But we are now
Takano.
to T, so you know,
Jeffries.
not much further to
Tenney.
go. 163, 182, and then we've got the 20
McCarthy.
for the other Republicans.
Tenadar.
Um, so
Jeffries.
yeah, so
Thompson of
this
California.
has definitely been an interesting process.
Jeffries.
I think people knew going into this that this was going to
Thompson,
be a struggle.
Mississippi.
It's not like this was anything
Jeffries.
new. You know,
Thompson
we
of
just didn't realize it
Pennsylvania.
was going to play out this long,
McCarthy.
that there were going to be, you know, 3 days of
Tiffany.
votes. And at the end of the third day, we were still wondering whether or not there was going
McCarthy.
to be a fourth day of voting
Timmons.
here.
McCarthy. Titus. Jeffries. Talib. Jeffries. Takuda. Jeffries. Tonko. Jeffries. Torres of California.
This is one of those
Jeffries.
situations where it's sort of like when you have a long sermon in church
Torres of New York.
and you sneak out
Jeffries.
the snacks or
Trahan.
the piece of peppermint or a
Jeffries.
candy that you have
Trone.
that you
Jeffries.
brought with you.
Turner.
Um,
McCarthy.
yeah, I'm one of those people known
Underwood.
for having some snacks in my
Jeffries.
bag.
Valadeo. McCarthy.
All right,
Vandrew.
so we are now to V. We're getting close here, just a few more, and we should be able to wrap
McCarthy.
this one up.
Van Dyne. McCarthy.
Let me turn it back up just a little bit so that we can hear it a little bit better. I did turn it down.
Vargas. Jeffries. Vasquez.
Oh, we had to hit the gavel.
VC. Jeffries. Velasquez. Jeffries. Wagner. McCarthy. Wahlberg. McCarthy.
And think about that. Each one of these votes takes, around 40
McCarthy.
minutes. So once you take into account
Schultz.
the nominating speeches
Jeffries.
and then the actual vote, you're talking
Waters.
about another hour for a round.
Jeffries.
So we've hit 200 for Jeffries.
Jeffries. Weber of Texas. McCarthy. Webster of Florida. McCarthy. Winstrup. McCarthy.
Some of these last ones are mostly going to be McCarthy or the other Republicans.
Wexton. Jeffries. Wild. Jeffries. Williams of Georgia. Jeffries. Williams of New York. Williams of New York.
And we're still at, I guess,
Williams of Texas.
New York stepped out.
Wilson of Florida. Jeffries. Wilson of South Carolina. Kevin McCarthy. Whitman.
So yeah, this is
McCarthy. Womack.
Getting down to the end
McCarthy.
here.
Yackham. McCarthy. Zinke.
Let's see. We're down to Z. All right. So I think that's it. I mean, maybe it's me, but that looks like the lowest number he's gotten so far. His numbers are supposed to be going up, not down. This looks like the lowest number.
The reading clerk will now call the names of the members-elect who did not answer the first
time
call
around.
of the roll.
And so this is checking those, call those, and we'll see if there are any with that. Meanwhile, I may need more power before wrapping this session up. And we're at like 42 minutes here. So like I said before, each time this is like an hour to do this.
Buck.
Let's see here. Yeah, so we've got 206 for Jeffries, 184 for McCarthy.
Jeffries.
Hearn with 7, Trump with 1. That was the one from Gates. And then the others, most of those I think were Donald.
Cuellar. Jeffries.
Let's see here. I've got some background noise. If you guys can hear that music, that is from the TV upstairs that my husband is watching.
McCarthy.
All right, and the fan from my computer has decided to check in. Let's see how long I can last on the battery power that I have, you guys.
Donald's.
Because it says my battery saver is on, consider plugging in your device. But what happens is the fan starts to run and it gets really loud. So I'm trying not to
McCarthy.
I'm trying not to run that. So we'll see if I can last a few more minutes to catch the end
Barbarino.
of this, and then we'll shut this down. But yeah, let's see where we are now. We're just G's. Okay.
Gomez.
Let's see if the numbers change. 185. And some of them are here. It does look like some of them are getting their votes in.
Hearn. McCarthy. Hill. McCarthy.
And so we're going to have McCarthy at 190. And again, not enough, not enough. And as you can
Joyce of
see,
Ohio.
the total for the others has
McCarthy.
gone up by 1. So, you know, we're now looking at 21 votes that he did not
Kelly of
get.
Pennsylvania. McCarthy. Kilmer. Jeffries. LaMalfa. McCarthy.
It's getting a little loud in
Turner.
here, but you can see there are not as many
McCarthy.
people in there at this point. It's 7:29.
Lee of Nevada. Jeffries.
And they took my
Lesko.
numbers away, so I can't see what
McCarthy.
the totals were.
Letlow. McCarthy.
Of course, I have another source, so it's looking like 211 Jeffries, 199 McCarthy at this point.
Muser.
This is what happens when you've got several screens
McCarthy.
going. You can sort of catch that. But they're not showing it here, but it does look like
Moore of
maybe
Utah.
212, 199.
McCarthy. Schiff. Jeffries.
So I think we're
Sparks.
looking at
Present.
200 for McCarthy now. And we're still at, I don't know, we might be at about
Williams of New York.
21 others,
McCarthy.
21 that didn't vote for him. All right. So let's see the final number there.
If there are any members-elect who did not answer the call of the roll, they may come to the well and vote at this time.
All right, so they're going to open and come to the well to vote at this time. Let's see if we have any coming down. I don't see any movement there for that. We'll see if there are any changes, and hopefully we can get the final number. I'm looking at it, and it may be 212 for Jeffries and 200 for McCarthy. So, you know, if that's the final number, then it definitely does not look like there was that switch. Let's get my battery plugged back in here. It definitely does not look like there was that gain in votes that
In this hour, the Hill newspaper reads, it appears Representative Kevin McCarthy, Republican of California, is on track for a historic 11th defeat. On track because the official tally has not been announced yet.
Yes, we're waiting
What is
for
happening
that
behind the
tally.
scenes? Jake Sherman of Punchbowl News tweeting out, House Republicans pushing to elect a speaker tonight per sources involved in the talks. A deal is.
So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. We don't have a final number yet. I think, you know, you can see what's going on there. They say they think a deal is being cut. But, you know, if this holdout continues, then there's, you know, they're going to have to figure out another pathway to wrapping this up. I mean, this so far, this is not working. And yeah, we don't know how this is going to end. So, yeah, so we're at 49 minutes and 54 seconds with this broadcast. I'm going to wrap it up. We know that we don't have the numbers. We know that there needs to be another vote here before they're able to figure out who their speaker is going to be. And yeah, and we'll stick around. Maybe I'll come back to do another one live, and we'll see how this goes. But don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for more.
I asked Eli
Peace.
Crane, one of those 20 objectors to Kevin McCarthy, if he's been presented with a deal. Quote, no.